Welcome to HortTube, where we talk all things gardening. My name is Jim Putnam, and this is an Ever Red Loropetalum. This is Ever Red Loropetalum, an evergreen shrub with burgundy foliage and red flowers. Ever Red Loropetalum is kind of a medium-sized grower. Get about the same size as Ruby Loropetalum, which is about 6 to 8 feet in height and probably 5 to 6 feet in width. It'd be easy to keep it much smaller than that. Ever Red, like most Loropetalum, is best in zone 7 to 9. In zone 7A, I would avoid having this thing out in open space. Like I wouldn't plant it in a parking lot or, as a border where it could be in the north wind. Ever Red's actually going to be pretty fast growing once it's established. You're probably going to get a foot, maybe even a little more than that, almost every year. Loropetalum need at least a half a day's sun and would probably prefer a full day's sun, and that's where you're going to get the best color on the foliage and the best flowering. The best uses for Ever Red Loropetalum is, number one, this would be a great screening plant. It definitely would work well in any kind of screening border. It's going to get kind of the perfect height for that. You could be able to continue to prune on it and keep it in good shape over time. It's not going to get 20 or 30 feet tall like a lot of other things you might choose. It would work well on a foundation, probably best on a corner or on a wall where you don't have windows. The main features of Ever Red Loropetalum are, number one, it's evergreen, so you're going to keep this foliage year round. It's December now, and you can see this purple foliage on this thing in the winter time, which is absolutely fantastic. And then what makes this plant unique from other Loropetalum, the other Burgundy Loropetalum varieties bloom with pink flowers, and this one actually has a pure red flower. I'm filming this at a time when it's not flowering, obviously, but you can see the tag on it. That is an unusual feature for this plant, and they stand out a mile away. Loropetalum are pretty industrial once you have them in the ground. They can be a little easy to break when you take them out of the container. They're usually have very thin wood on a small plant like this, and so that's a consideration, is being careful taking it out of the container. Otherwise, they're pretty industrial. I've got some planting instructions in the description of this video. Just follow those and you should be fine. Loropetalum is very drought tolerant, and you could go a long time without water once it's established. The problem with it, though, is they do thin out when they get abnormally dry. So this is a plant that if you want to keep it looking its best, you probably want to drag a water hose to it a few times during the summer, if you go 2 weeks in 90-degree heat and you haven't gotten any rain. That will keep this plant looking the best. It'll also give you the most flowers and keep it full throughout the plant. Ever Red Loropetalum is definitely a plant I'm going to want to fertilize in the spring. The new growth is really a nice, dark, rich burgundy color. It contrasts beautifully with this darker green, older foliage, and then of course the flowers are incredible on this thing. Very different than the other older Loropetalum varieties where we only had pink flowers instead of red. So definitely fertilize this thing in the spring. Any kind of slow release fertilizer for shrubs would be fine. Something that'll last 3 to 4 months. Just put it on right after the worst of the winter, just that one time. Loropetalum can pretty much be pruned anytime you need to, and you can actually get after these pretty hard. You can probably take half the height out of them at one time, not have any problem doing it. I like to prune mine after they flower in the springtime. You'll get a very heavy flowering in the springtime, which will repeat later in the summer and then maybe even again in the fall. And so I'll do it after that first bloom. I'll get after it really, really hard. That way that new foliage comes out and looks fantastic, and then it'll bloom again mid to late summer. We really don't have a lot of pest problems on Loropetalum. We rarely see anything even chewing on the leaves on these, and they're pretty much deer proof. So what are you waiting for? Even you can grow the beautiful evergreen, burgundy foliaged, red flowering, Ever Red Loropetalum. Thank you for watching my video, and if it was helpful, please hit the like button and subscribe to my channel for future videos. Also comment below with any questions you have about Loropetalum. Thanks again.